Welcome back to Copperhead Customs. Can we get this beautiful 1965 Pontiac to run and drive beautifully and take it into town for its first decent drive? Stick around, find out what we have to do. So for those of you that are new, this is a 1965 Australian assembled Pontiac Parisienne or Parisienne or however else you want to say it. And we bought this car at auction with no running gear. But other than that, just as it sits, we got it for an absolute bargain. And inside that thing, the boot, there was around $8,000 worth of bolt-on accessories. So in 1 week's time we put a 283 Chevy V8 in it that I built, which is what this car originally had in it from the factory over here in Australia, and we put a 3-speed turbo 350. Now this car's running a Holley Sniper. We put the shifter, gauges, we've done all sorts of stuff to this. We've got it running and driving, but it has a couple of little problems. And we'll see if we can fix them. And then we're going to take it on its first decent drive. So stick around and we'll see if we achieve anything. All right, we are back and ready to start on this. So what we have to do is our harmonic balance is a stock original balancer, and it has the, I'll show you when we get it off, but it has these 3 little tabs on it, and the normal stock pulley that has holes for those tabs. Okay, so this aftermarket pulley doesn't have the holes for those tabs. Now we could have drilled them out, but, and I don't know if you can see in there, but how do we get you in there? It's probably not the greatest, is it? But see if we can put the flash. No, we can't do it. It's not quite square because it's sitting out on these tabs. So what we've decided is we are going to undo that. So to undo that, we have 3 Allen key bolts in there, and then we have the 5/8 hex head bolt that goes into the crank that we are going to undo. Now that bolt is a bit damaged, so we're going to have a bit of fun with it. So we undo those. We'll probably have to loosen our alternator and probably our power steer belts, and we can get the pulley off. Then we will get the bearing puller thing, whatever it is, out of the toolbox, and we will, I'll show you that, we will pull the harmonic balancer off. Quick and easy job, shouldn't take us very long. And then what we've got is, we've just bought another stock one here, we've got another one here that we will put on, and we bought ourselves a new bolt and a new washer. Okay, so let's get into it. I'll try to set yours up and let's do some work. Alright, we are under the car. There's our pulley, and if we got the camera work, we had to weld a nut onto our old bolt to get it out. But these are the little tabs. See these little tabs here that I was talking about, and they just were throwing the bottom pulley slightly askew. So right, we've got that to there. We've now got this harmonic balance puller. So this gets set up. That goes there. We have this goes through here. Okay, and then our bolts go into our harmonic balancer through this plate, like so. And then we screw this in and it pops that off. So I'll set you up and I'll get it off. Right, you just seen that, so that's easily set up, you've seen. So the 3 bolts just go into the harmonic balancer, and then you put the other tool in, which has a little locator that actually locates on the crank, yes? And then you just screw this. It then pushes this out, and you're screwing in and pushing in, so you're pushing, levering off the crank, and you just pull the cog, pulls off, okay? Nice and simple. So we'll stick that. So those little lumps there were enough to throw out our pulley and give it a bit of a shimmery. You are an idiot, aren't you? I don't know if you guys picked it. Did you pick it? Did you pick what I've done wrong? Well, I hope you have. Because someone forgot to put the pulley on. So yes, we've got the harmonic balancers on nicely. We've got to undo the bolt now, stick the pulley on, and do the bolt back up. El stupido. And something else I've noticed whilst being under here is we have a little bit of water kicking around the place. And I'm pretty sure that it is from that Welsh plug on the other side. So I think while we got half of this apart, we're going to pull the alternator off again. And I think we're going to knock that other side's Welsh plug out and put a new Welsh plug out. Welsh plug in to see if we've got it. think you can see that down there, that Welsh plug. And as you can see, come into focus, I've got to put you out there a bit. As you can see, there's water on the bottom of it, so it is definitely leaking. So what I am going to try to attempt is, if we bring you back up here, there it is there. I'm going to see if I can hit that edge there, tiny little bit. See if I can smack that and pop that out and then drive the new one in without pulling everything off. Alrighty, after a fair bit of banging and clanging and pulling, and we got it out. And if you can see it, where is it? Down there. Got him out. So what we would do is, we've got some 60 grit paper here. We'll, stick our finger. Little sand up with the 60 grit. Then we've got this jointing paste. So we'll just run a bit of that around. Here's our little plug. We'll just put a bit of the joining paste around there, and we've just got a little, it's a bit banged up, but a little driver that actually sits in there. And we tap, 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 tap it in. Leave it overnight to seal up beautifuls. Alright, so alright. Alright, there is that done. We just threw a bit of the sealant stuff around the outside at the end there. And we just actually put a bit, we had to scrape this off to get our engine number. We just actually smeared a bit around there where the paint had come off, where we scraped the paint off. So, that's it for tonight. The other thing we disconnected the battery too before we did any of this. So we didn't want to blow our fuse like we did last time with our starter, because under here we've got a couple of 100 amp fuses. So we've disconnected the starter. So now tomorrow we'll put the starter back on, we'll put our belts on, tighten our alternator and power steering pump. Put some water in it, and then we will get onto the transmission kick down cable. Alright, as you can see, it's night time. Mist, meadows in the mist, moos in the mist. Anyway, see you in the morning. Okay, it is the next day. So what we have to do is reassemble all of this. Down here, you can see that we've got to do that bolt up. That was our earth we had to undo. So we've got to do that up. Our starter motor has to come back on here. So we have one bolt that comes through the bottom, and we have the little Allen key that goes at the top, and put the belt on it. Now, that was quite painful to do, as our belt is, it's probably a tiny bit too small, but we can get it on, so I'll fight through that. And we've also got to put our power steering pump on. Now the good thing is though, is we can crank the motor around now with the bolt. Before, that bolt was a little bit rounded and we couldn't crank it around properly. So Alright, so you've just seen we got all those brackets redone, tightened up, all the belts are nice. We adjusted the power steering pump, and we still made to do some more tweaking on that alternator, but I got it not too bad. I still think that is slightly kicking that way, the alternator, but we'll see how we go. If we got rid of the squeal, just move these, make sure these hoses are clear. Down there, yeah. And we just threw the kick down cable, we just fed it down the back. We went and bought this magnet. So the plan is to shove that down the hole, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can find the little thing that's in the transmission and pluck it out, hook our cable to it. If we have no success with that, we're just going to bung the hole up and not actually run it. We will just have it as a fakie, because you can, well, now, these do actually have a vacuum kick down in them, but you can also hook the manual cable one up as well, so it will operate without it. It will change gears. I may just have to, probably won't always kick down when I want it as good. We just dropped a socket in there. Boom. It's the worst thing about what I did here with all these holes. I lose nuts and bolts and stuff everywhere. So anyway, let's slinky under here and see if we can pull this off. Oakley dokley. So I couldn't actually get you under the car with me then to I just couldn't get the camera anywhere for you to see. So anyway, we've bolted in the kick down cable now. We could not hook it up. We used the magnet. We could not fish the rod out. We don't know if there's a rod in there or not. So I think next service, transmission service we do, when we drop the pan, we'll have a suss, see if we can find that rod. So we've just put it in there though. We've pulled the cable tight at this end. As you can see, we've pulled the cable tight, excess here, so it's all tucked up in. It's not actually in there at all. We've mounted our little bracket, and there's our cable, just so it can just sit there waiting. Like I said, all our brackets down here are done. So the kick down cable is not connected, but it is plugged the bung up. So yeah, we changed the harmonic balance, got all our pulleys on, adjusted, belts tightened. Yeah. What else? I think that's all we can do at this stage. We have ordered, now here's something with our Sniper. Our Sniper is telling us that our AFR, which is our air fuel ratio, is unplugged, which is our O2 sensor down there, saying it's unplugged. So I've ordered a new one. We will replace the O2 sensor, and hopefully that fixes that. So what it means basically is that the Holley is not learning at the moment. And I think occasionally it does this surgy idle, where it idles up and down. And I'm 99% because that's unplugged. But because we went in and changed our air fuel ratio at the start, it's handling it. You know, it sometimes wants to stall on idle, but once we're driving it's okay. So we just got to look at that. So I've ordered a new O2 sensor, and hopefully that will rectify that, but we will come back in and we'll do a dedicated video on that when it arrives, and we will mess with the Sniper program, and we'll get a bit more in depth into that. But one thing I will say about that is, from Holley, well, on eBay, the Holley O2 sensor is anywhere from $220 to $400, okay, even at the race parts shops. But there is a Bosch, supposedly a Bosch equivalent, which at some of the places is similar price. Apparently it's the same O2 sensor, same part number, whatever. And I found that Bosch on eBay O2 sensor for $80. That's a big difference. So that's why we took the punt on the O2 sensor, we'll swap it out for 80 bucks. We'll swap it out and eliminate that out of our system. The other thing that the Sergi idle can be is that our wires from our Sniper are too close or getting interference from our plug wires or whatever, so we could have some issues in there with that. We need to maybe shield them away a little bit, but at this stage it's saying that the AFR is unplugged, so that's our first port of call, is to get that reading, because it will not. So if you don't know how the Holley Snipers work, is they learn, they continually learn. So you can go in to them on a dyno with a laptop and you can do a proper map, right? So you get perfect air fuel ratio. Okay, so those of you who, there's been a few people who've gone, oh, they're not as good, Ram Carbies are better. Well, you don't know what you're freaking talking about, because it's proven that these are better on a dyno. They generally get about 10 horsepower extra out of them, because what they can do is they can go through and adjust the air fuel ratio the whole way through the rev range. Okay, so that you have the perfect air fuel ratio no matter what speed you're doing. Whereas in the Carby, you set your air fuel ratio and that's what it is. Okay, whereas this can adjust it. So now, what the Sniper does is it learns. So if you don't have the laptop and the dyno to do that, this will learn. So after you've taken it for 100 drives, it's learnt what is going on through the O2 sensor, through the sensors feeding it, and it adjusts and it does that mapping itself. So it will get a really good map, but it will just take longer if you put it into self-learn mode. What I'm saying is, if you want to go in and tune it yourself and spend time, you can get these things so that every 50 revs you can tweak that air fuel ratio so that it is perfect at every increment through the rev range. Okay, so yeah. So for those who say that, oh, they don't make as much horsepower and they're no good for this and they're no good for that, well, go do some more research and pull your head out of your backside, because it's proven. Anyway, I will be back. All right. So, success. Success. Our little mate. Cruising around. Good boy. So, there you have it. We just took it around down the street and back. And it's driving pretty good now. We're getting all gears. We are... no leaks at the moment. It all seems pretty good. So, I think that's us on this one. The wobble's gone. No water leak anymore. So I think our next step, like I said, will be the O2 sensor. We'll come in and do some work on that. So, with that being said, I think we're ready to go. Go for a drive. I think we're ready to go for a good drive now. So we're going to go get some petrol put in it. And then we're going to head. Alright, so thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.